Governor Jindal, you're one of two sitting governors on the stage tonight, but your approval numbers at home are in the mid-30s at this point. In a recent poll that showed you in a head-to-head against Hillary Clinton in Louisiana, she beat you by several points. So if the people of Louisiana are not satisfied, what makes you think that the people of this nation would be?
Well, first of all, thank you all for having us. I won 2 record elections. Last time I was elected governor, won a record margin in my state. Martha, we got a lot of politicians that will kiss babies, cut ribbons, do whatever it takes to be popular. That's not why I ran for office. I ran for office to make the generational changes in Louisiana. We've cut 26% of our budget. We have 30,000 fewer state bureaucrats than the day I took office. I don't think anybody has cut that much government anywhere at any time. As a result, 8 credit upgrades. As a result, a top 10 state for private sector job creation. And we fought for statewide school choice, where the dollars follow the child instead of the child following the dollars. We've been the most pro-life state 6 years in a row. My point is this. I won 2 landslide elections. I made big changes. I think our country is tired of the politicians who simply read the polls and fail to lead. Both Democrats and Republicans have gotten us in the mess we're in, $18 trillion of debt, a bad deal with Iran. We're not staying with Israel. I think the American people are looking for real leadership. That's what I've done in Louisiana. That's what I'll do for America.
Governor Jindal, give me one example how your fight against ISIS would be different over there.
Well, to start with, unlike President Obama, I'll actually name the enemy that we confront. We've got a president who cannot bring himself to say the words radical Islamic terrorism. Now, Bill, he loves to criticize America, apologize for us, criticize medieval Christians. How can we beat an enemy if our commander-in-chief doesn't have the moral honesty and clarity to say that Islam has a problem and that problem is radical Islam, to say they've got to condemn not just generic acts of violence, but the individual murderers who are committing these acts of violence? We've got a president instead who says we're going to change hearts and minds. Well, you know what? Sometimes you win a war by killing murderous, evil terrorists. We're going to take the political handcuffs off the military. We will arm and train the Kurds. We will work with our Sunni allies. They know we will be committed to victory. We had this failed red line with Assad, and it discouraged folks that want to help us on the ground. Finally, we'll take off the political handcuffs. We'll go to the Congress. This president has gone to Congress and said, give me a 3-year deadline. Give me a ban on ground troops. I'm going to go to the commanders and say, give me a plan to win. You can't send your troops into harm's way unless you give them every opportunity to be successful.
And you know the saying, right? No Republican wins the White House unless you win here in the Buckeye State. Well, here in the Buckeye State, the governor, John Kasich, took the federal money for Medicaid expansion under Obamacare. And Governor Jindal in Louisiana, you passed on those tax dollars. Why do you think Governor Kasich got it wrong here?
Well, this goes to the question you were just asking. Look, under President Obama and Secretary Clinton, they're working hard to change the American dream into the European nightmare. They do celebrate more dependence on the government. Give Bernie Sanders credit. At least he's honest enough to call himself a socialist. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, they're no better. If we were to expand Medicaid, for every uninsured person we would cover in Louisiana, we'd kick more than one person out of private insurance or remove their opportunity to get private insurance. We're going to have too many people in the cart rather than pulling the cart. This isn't free money. I know some people like to say, well, this is free money. We pay federal taxes. We are borrowing money from China today. Yesterday, the president stunningly admitted this. He said, we don't have leverage with China to get a better deal on Iran because we need them to lend us money to continue operating our government. The President of the United States admitting that he's weakening our government's position, our foreign policy standing, because he can't control spending in D.C. There is a better way to provide health care. The Oregon study showed this. Simply expanding Medicaid does not improve health care outcomes. In Louisiana, instead, we're helping people getting better paying jobs so they can provide for their own health care.
So Governor Kasich was wrong, just to be clear.
Correct? I don't think anybody should be expanding Medicaid. I think it's a mistake to create new and more expensive entitlement programs when we can't afford the ones we've got today. We've got to stop this culture of government dependence.
I didn't hear an answer regarding Governor Kasich, but for now, I'll go to Governor Pataki. Yes or no?
I'll say this. I don't think anybody should expand Medicaid. I think it was a mistake to expand Medicaid everywhere in Ohio and across the country.
Let's go to Governor Jindal. Carly Fiorina, also on the stage, said that she would go so far as to shut down the government over the issue of defunding Planned Parenthood. Would you do that? Would you be willing to shut down the government when it comes to defunding this group?
Well, a couple of things. Planned Parenthood had better hope that Hillary Clinton wins this election. Because I guarantee you, under President Jindal, January 2017, the Department of Justice and the IRS and everybody else that we can send from the federal government will be going into Planned Parenthood. This is absolutely disgusting and revolts the conscience of the nation. Absolutely, we need to defund Planned Parenthood. In my own state, for example, we launched an investigation, asked the FBI to cooperate. We just earlier this week kicked them out of Medicaid in Louisiana as well, canceled their provider contract. They don't provide any abortions in Louisiana. But in terms of shutting down the government, I don't think President Obama should choose to shut down the government simply to send taxpayer dollars to this group that has been caught, I believe, breaking the law, but also offending our values and our ethics. Martha, it is time for Republicans in D.C. to fight. Too often they give up, they negotiate with themselves. They said they would get rid of the unconstitutional amnesty. They didn't do that. They said they would repeal Obamacare if we gave them the majority. They didn't do that either. They said they'd shrink and balance the budget. They haven't done that. Absolutely, they should fight to defund Planned Parenthood, and I don't think the president should shut down the government simply to send our taxpayer dollars to this group.
Governor Jindal, your first executive order
would be
the White House would be what?
To repeal these unconstitutional legal orders, whether it's amnesty or whether it's this president going around the Congress, whether it's an Obamacare, to restore the rule of law. I'd also go after these sanctuary cities, do everything we can to make sure that we are actually prosecuting and cutting off funding for cities that are harboring illegal aliens, and then finally making sure the IRS is not going after conservative or religious groups. I would sign an executive order protecting religious liberty, our First Amendment rights, so Christian business owners and individuals don't face discrimination for having a traditional view of marriage.
Governor Jindal.
You know, we've got a lot of great talkers running for president. We've already got a great talker in the White House. We cannot afford 4 more years of on-the-job training. We need a doer, not a talker. We also need a nominee, a candidate who will endorse our own principles. Jeb Bush says we got to be willing to lose the primary in order to win the general. Let me translate that for you. That's the establishment telling us to hide our conservative principles to get the left and the media to like us. That never works. If we do that again, we will lose again. We will deserve to lose again. One principle, for example, we've got to embrace is on immigration. We must insist on assimilation. Immigration without assimilation is an invasion. We need to tell folks who want to come here, they need to come here legally. They need to learn English, adopt our values, roll up their sleeves, and get to work. I'm tired of the hyphenated Americans and the division. I've got the backbone, I've got the bandwidth, I've got the experience to get us through this. I'm asking folks not just to join my campaign, but join a cause. It is time to believe in America again.